Is this thing on? Good morning. Cheers. Well, I am juggling a bit here. I have a very uh, jerry rigged setup here, so let's see if this works. I am. This is definitely on the duct tape and twine category. Good morning, afternoon, evening, Mo. Um, so this is not my usual setup. Obviously, I am highly improvising, and let me just do a quick audio check. Okay. I hear audio. I apologize. Do not have the greatest quality in the world, but I will slowly work on that over the next couple weeks. This is the Volcano Studio. I am in Berlin, El Salvador. So let's see how this goes. I have a Business Central training to do in 40 minutes. So I'm going to crank through this and let's see what happens here. So I believe I can check comments via Restream. So let's give that a try. So send a comment, question on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And with that, so obviously, if you haven't been following me, my weekly project is that I am in Berlin, El Salvador for 3 weeks until June 27th or something. So I'll be conducting Business Central training with the ERP Center of Excellence candidates here. And I am literally on the side of a volcano, as we like to say, and we are we are podcasting live from the global headquarters of the ERP Center of Excellence Career Center, where we will be providing Business Central training, career education, job opportunities. And this is a picture of the nearby volcano, and it is quite majestic and stunning. When you're just driving along and there's a giant volcano with clouds ringing the top. So all of June, I'll be trying to do live streams from here. And yeah, and what is fascinating is if you go to the Walmart about an hour and a half away, 2 hours away in San Miguel, you're in the parking lot and you look up and there's a volcano just looming over the parking lot of Walmart. It's a little interesting, very different experience. So on Monday, had the fantastic flight on the luxurious Avianca Airlines with my very fancy upgraded seat. And I mean, I don't know where else you can have a cup of noodles at 35,000 feet, but that is the treat to myself is a first class fresh cup of noodles served to me. And I realized that might be the first time someone has actually served me a cup of noodles. It was pretty posh. And I'm watching an IT Security Labs video on YouTube there. That is about exposing telemetry in Grafana. And I believe it was Nmap data in Grafana. So that's what I do in my free time on my flights. And if you have ever been to El Salvador, if you haven't, I welcome you. Come on by. You will recognize this photo from the airport, and that's what greets everyone. And apologize, audio issues here. And then once I got into town, I was picked up by my friend Napoleon. He is the man when it comes to transportation in El Salvador. So he picked me up and we went to his hometown of Zacatecoluca, and really cool little quaint little town. And he took me to this beautiful pupuseria. I was at night by that time because my flight was late, 7:30, 8 o'clock or something at night. And we had some pupusas. And so if you're not familiar with pupusas, they are a corn or masa like pocket filled with beans, cheese, meats, loroco, which is a local flour of El Salvador, and you put curtido and salsa on top. It is a fantastic, simple dish. So that's what we had for dinner. It was really nice, and we had a fresh juice drink, fresa, I believe, strawberry blended drink. So that was excellent. Then on Tuesday, he gave me a very quick tour of Zacatecoluca, and then I hopped in the car. tried to avoid getting in an accident, getting out of town because it's a little zany driving around El Salvador small towns. And then I did the 2.5 hour drive to Berlin up on the volcano, and I saw dogs, or I swerved around dogs, some horses, a goat in the middle of the road, and an iguana just slithering across the road. So some of those were a first. I cannot say that I have avoided an iguana in the middle of the road until now. So beautiful drive, other than the road hazards and obstacles. Yeah, funny that they have speed limit signs of 80 kilometers per hour. But honestly, if you're doing 60 kilometers per hour, it feels like you're risking your life in most cases. So anyway, um, gracias. Anyway, it was a great drive up, very scenic. Just take your time and try to drive safe. And then once I got in and got semi settled, we went over to an amazing little cafe. Like, Berlin is this small town, 3 hours away from the main city of El Salvador, up in the on the volcano. Like, you just wouldn't imagine things like this are here, but this is a gorgeous little cafe run by a local woman, a Berliner, called Criados, and it is her, she's an artist, but she decided to open a cafe that highlights and features her artwork, where you can buy her artwork. And so you go in, and there's a beautiful mural outside, and you go in this tiny little cozy cafe, and she has painted the walls with frames and various other accessories of an art studio, and she hangs her art on the wall. So you can go to this cafe, you can purchase her artwork, you can have a nice drink, a smoothie, you can have a crepe. She has savory crepes. Really fantastic experience. Like, amazing gem of a cafe in this little tiny town. Just mind blowing how I'm just speechless when I was there. It was a fantastic experience. So that is Patty's Cafe, and she actually did the artwork for our career center here. And let me see if I can pull this off. I've posted on Twitter, but there is the artwork that she painted for us, and that is El Mundo. And that painting represents how education in Berlin is going to connect the residents to the world, El Mundo. So that's what we're up to here. And the art, as I mentioned, doubles as a sound panel. So we have sound absorbing foam behind that. So that's going to help the reverb in this room for future podcasts and live stream. So let's get back to the slides. So Wednesday, this is Fred, and he is my local rooster. He woke me up at about 5 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Fortunately, Fred was nowhere near my house this morning. I got a little bit more sleep, but holy cow, it is unbelievable how loud a rooster can be. And they're just roosters and chickens roaming around the house where I'm at up in the hills. So I then headed down to Doña Silvia, a restaurant down the hill from me, and had a desayuno típico, typical breakfast. And that is casamiento rice and beans. We had frijoles, platanos, and I forget what they called this. It's basically like a fried, I forget the name off the top of my head. Fried cornmeal or masa, no meat inside, and then the pan francesa, I believe is what they call that, the bread there. So excellent meal with some coffee, and it's beautiful outdoor open air restaurant, just so inviting and relaxing. So great place to have breakfast. And then I headed over to the Career Center to kind of get set up. I unloaded over 70 pounds of gear that I brought with me. I think I had 2 miles of cables for all of the podcast studio that I'm assisting with, HDMI cables, USB cables, you name it. A whole bunch of stuff to get set up, and basically 2 suitcases worth of gear, and got set up for the training. And one fun note about the community center here in Berlin is that there is a giant, massive avocado tree right next to the building. And these avocados, I swear, are the size of a grapefruit. They must weigh a pound at least. They're just enormous. And when they fall from this tree and they hit the metal roof of the building, it is unbelievably loud, and I'm just not used to it. So I jump out of my chair every single time. Happens throughout the day, just bang. So that is a fun experience of having an office in El Salvador. Excuse me. Okay, so buen dia, Brad. Um, Welcome. Come on in. Okay, educational opportunities of the week. Jeremy over at Spare Brained is having I think he calls it a workshop. So these are nice little bite-sized training sessions that you can sign up for. No major commitment, no full day training, no full week training. I highly recommend checking it out. And unless you're one of the 5 people who is an expert in Business Central warehousing, I am not one of those, head on over to his website, sparebrain.com education, and just sign up for this workshop. It is on 2 different days at 2 different times. We have Monday, June 17th, 3 p.m. Central European summertime, I think is what it's called, CEST, or 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the United States, Estados Unidos, I believe. So I'm going to try to go for June 17th on Monday. That'll be 7 a.m. my time down here in El Salvador. I am planning on signing up and attending this introduction of BC warehousing. I understand what a warehouse is. It is a building with shelves and stuff, and people run around picking inventory, but I know virtually nothing about BC warehousing and any nuance to that functionality. So, hey, why don't you join me and let's do a little flash mob in Jeremy's BC warehousing workshop. So I'll be on June 17th, but you are welcome to jump into the Thursday, June 20th class. That'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern time or 7 p.m. European time. He also does record the sessions and offer it as a download only option. So what is great about this, I think he said it's roughly 1.5 to 2 hours, however long it needs to go to answer Q&A and get through the content. So that's kind of nice. He's not rushed. He's not trying to cram it all in a fixed 60-minute class. And it is only 100 euros. So it's nice bite-sized chunks. This is not the comprehensive training if you want to learn everything about Business Central. But if you already know Business Central, but you're not an expert in BC warehousing, head on over, register, and let's learn about BC warehousing. So I'm going to sign up. Very economical fee. I mean, if I learn 5 things from this class, which will not be hard at all, 100 euros is going to be a bargain because then I will be a little less clueless on BC warehousing. So check it out. Let's fill those classes. Another quasi-educational opportunity related is TechFluent. You've heard me talk about this before. TechFluentAcademy.org is run by Liz McGlennon. She is awesome. If you know her, she is unbelievable. And I have talked with her, and I got to meet some of the truly impressive, awesome TechFluent graduates at DynamicsCon Live in Denver. They're really good, folks. Love chatting with them. They're awesome. And I am currently in touch with 3 graduates. I'll talk more about one that I'm working with, but 3 graduates who are interested in learning more about Business Central. So given that I'm up here on a volcano doing Business Central training for the candidates here in Berlin, I figure why not leverage that content and replicate it for the TechFluent graduates who want to get a deeper understanding and education in Business Central. And so that's what I'm doing. If anyone is interested in helping out, volunteering, I can provide the content, you can tweak it. And I'm trying to do a slightly different format for the TechFluent folks, just so that it's a little more asynchronous. And currently I'm doing 1 hour per week. So happy to increase that pace if someone wants to take a topic and work with the TechFluent grads and accelerate their learning. So yeah, I mean, I welcome any assistance. They're really cool people. and we're having a lot of fun. So I'm going to try to coordinate with 2 more, already working with 1. So that's what I'm up to. Upcoming events, eventos. I previously had multiple slides for these. There were literally too many, so I'm now consolidating them. Maybe when a new event comes on, I'll feature that, but then they will go to this list format. We have BC Tech Days 2024 in June in Belgium, Tech Bayanahan in August in Manila, Philippines, Days of Knowledge Americas in September. Like, tons of BC content, folks. You have zero excuse for not attending conferences, not attending workshops, not getting the education and closing those gaps in your knowledge. We have Summit North America coming up in October in San Antonio, Texas. I will be presenting with Business Central MVP Silvio at that conference. And then we have Directions EMEA in November in Vienna, Austria. Call for speakers is still open. Submit your presentation session to that call for speakers that is on Sessionize. So prepare a session topic, submit it on Sessionize, and go be a speaker in Vienna, Austria. I presented at Directions EMEA in Germany a couple years ago, I believe. So go do it. It's a great opportunity, huge conference, really good content. So lots of upcoming events. And the tool of the week. I had a hard time coming up with this one, but then it literally just dawned on me that this is my tool of the week in Berlin, El Salvador. And my explanation is it hasn't killed me yet. This is the shower head in the house where I am staying. It's a beautiful house, gorgeous, massive house, but this is the shower head, and this is just apparently the thing in El Salvador. And I don't understand this coming from the United States. I'm sure Europeans are aghast at this as well. This is one of the scariest things I could see as an American. Like, it just violates every sense of safety and standards that you can imagine. But these are at the hardware store. I saw one at the hardware store. They're like $30. And what is shocking, I came up with that myself. What is shocking about these shower heads, these heated shower heads, is how effective they are. They actually work surprisingly well for low water flow, 120 volts. And I know you're saying it's unsafe, Steve, but hey, I had it checked out and I know it's safe because there is also a fully exposed circuit breaker in the shower next to the shower head. So folks, trust me, I am perfectly safe. Circuit breaker is right there, ready for me to reach up with my wet hands and pop it off should I have any electrocution issues while in the shower. So that is my tool of the week. And I mean, I can't complain. I could take cold showers, or I could experience the joy of creative Salvadoran ingenuity. So moving on to Thursday, Jueves. First day of Business Central training in Berlin at the ERP Center of Excellence Career Center on the side of a volcano. And we got chairs, folks. Thank you, Nikki, and thank you, Charlie, for arranging this. Buying furniture in Berlin is no small feat. Very difficult to get seemingly simple and obvious items. You can't just run to the Office Depot, which is 2 to 3 hours away, and pick stuff up. So we were able to, or they were able to assist me in arranging for purchasing these chairs through Facebook Marketplace, through some vendor in San Salvador. And we got them delivered, which is absolutely miraculous because that is a 3-hour drive for the delivery people. And yep, so I paid for those, bought the tables, bought the chairs, and we got set up. And thanks to Tim for mounting the TV behind me, getting that set up. I would have displayed something on the TV, but it really screws up the exposure of the camera until I get things settled. So we have a classroom. We have our own dedicated ERP training facility here. And then Thursday night, went to dinner with James, and we had pupusas. And you will never be hungry in Berlin. there are food vendors and food stalls everywhere. This woman sets up on the sidewalk down the street, and I mean, they are just cranking out pupusas faster than a machine could put them out. So within 2 minutes of sitting down, we had our flaming hot lava filled pupusas and had a great meal. So that was a lot of fun. And once again, pupusas, these are my frijoles con queso pupusas with a massive jar of curtido, which is the pickled cabbage side. So that was good. So today, it is Friday. I am absolutely exhausted. It has been a busy week. We have scheduled power and water outages. I think the power is working as far as I can tell, but we don't know if the power is going to go out or how long, but it's been scheduled maintenance. And coincidentally, I'm told that the water is scheduled to be out, which they're used to here. So the water is only a couple days a week in most places, or limited hours. And so you fill up your water tanks and you have a reserve. It's pretty standard here. We are doing more Business Central training at the Career Center, and today we are going to focus on career training. So we're going to talk about resumes, interview practice. We are going to do public speaking, and we are going to do what I'm calling the Build series, where the students are going to jump right into a Business Central feature. And so I'm thinking today is going to be screen recorder, because that's a relatively new feature. And I have what I think will be a clever idea for the screen recorder in Business Central that these candidates in Berlin will provide as a service, both training and as an actual service for customers throughout the world. So be on the lookout for that new service coming out of Berlin, El Salvador. And I have a call with Christabel, one of the TechFluent graduates. She is so awesome. Folks, if you want to hire someone, Christabel's awesome. She is out of Maryland, available for remote work. And I'm working with her to do Business Central training, and she is going to do a training session with me today. So that'll be interesting. So the excellence update, meet Team Berlin. So on the left, we have Jocelyn, and she previously worked for a global travel reservation company, and she had to deal with everything from helping customers book reservations to dealing with reservation issues to canceling reservations, calling hotels, car rentals, you name it. She handled everything, and procedures and systems and juggling 5 customers at once throughout the world. Like, the amount of stuff she had to do is pretty crazy. And so she's looking at Business Central like, this is nothing, like, bring it on, folks. So awesome experience. So Jocelyn is doing great. She is asking questions like really insightful questions that are nailing the content. And I'm like, whoa, okay, let me try to think of the answer to that question. So one of the homework assignments last night for both Jocelyn and David was ask me 5 questions about Business Central. So I'm going to be in the hot seat later today answering their questions. So over on the right, we have David, and he works for a global consumer electronics company providing second level technical support and repair services, having to diagnose, is the product misconfigured? Did the consumer not configure it right? Or does it have a technical issue? Does it need repair? And he has to make that determination. Do we dispatch a repair person? Which model is it? Can we get parts? So he handles the full service side for this global consumer electronics brand for their consumer repair division. So he currently works with Salesforce through his organization, and he's looking at Business Central like, this is obvious, man. Like, he's jumping through the filters, he's clicking through and totally gets it. So they are nailing it. Awesome team. And they're accelerating the pace for me and putting me in the hot seat. I'm going to have to come up with new, more challenging content because the basics I wasn't sure how it was going to go. They are flying through the basics, and I'm going to have to come up with more advanced, accelerated content. So really having an awesome time. Training is going great. And in the background, if you have an eagle eye and zoom in a lot, on the left, you will see on the TV, we have Roberto Carella's blog, because we used, Jocelyn and I used Central Q to look up some topics and terms, because not everything translates well to Spanish. Like the word tenant, we were talking about a Business Central tenant. We're trying to find the Spanish equivalent just to get an idea of what that meant. And it turns out that Roberto has a couple of blog posts that mention the Spanish word. And on the right related note, you'll see Central Q on the screen. And that is Dimitri Katzin's awesome, unbelievable search engine for all Business Central content. And it is multilingual. It is unlimited lingual, because I can ask it a question in English. And I said, what is the Spanish equivalent for the term for the Business Central tenant? It understood what I was talking about. And it said, oh, the Spanish term for a Business Central tenant is this. It pointed me to Roberto's blog and allowed us to find the translation and find the blog articles explaining what that term meant. Folks, if you are not using Central Q on a daily basis, I beg you to start using it. Just don't use Google, don't use Bing, don't use DuckDuckGo. A general search engine cannot compete with Central Q that can translate into any language and find you the articles, even if you type the question in Spanish. Unbelievable. It's a fantastic resource for me. During class, we're constantly asking questions in Spanish and English, finding the blog posts, finding the videos, and amazing resource for training for me. So that is the team, Jocelyn and David, and we're having a great time up here on the volcano. And El fin de semana. And, it seemed kind of silly. I've been using the Spanish equivalents or translations for my slide titles. But when Napoleon picked me up in Zacatecoluca, we were chatting, and he was trying to explain that the town is, say, busier on the weekend. And he's like, what's the word? What's the word? El fin de semana. And I was like, I know El fin de semana. Like, say no more. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I say it every single week. So this has been pretty cool, knowing the days of the week, knowing El fin de semana. And I was like, got it, man. You're talking about the weekend, all good. So this weekend, on Saturday, I have more Business Central training. I have classes together with Jocelyn and David, and we are going to do presentations. So they're going to pick a Business Central topic. They're going to present on it to me, and they will be doing a presentation, essentially a live training session with me as part of their training. And then on Sunday, I've got to get myself configured. I got to get vMix reconfigured on my laptop, got to get set up for recording, try to set up a green screen. I brought a couple yards of fabric with me. So hopefully I can have a green screen. I need to work on lighting. It is literally impossible to find a 5,000K light bulb in El Salvador. So I brought 6 bulbs with me in my 70 pounds of luggage. So I got to figure out, I can't even buy a lamp. That's even difficult. So got to set up my recording studio here, get my green screen thing on so I can use vMix, and I'll see how this audio sounds and how it works out. But that is my weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, I'm probably just going to finish the recording setup and collapse and take it easy. I am exhausted. So with that Q&A, let me head over the chat. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. But it is a busy week. It's going to be a busy month in El Salvador. And my big achievement of our team is our developer has finally migrated all of our projects, our AppSource app, our AppSource libraries, and all of our PTEs are fully migrated over to Cosmo Alpaca in DevOps. It took us, we started this as a project maybe in January. So we've been working on this for 5 solid months, and it started with evaluating our DevOps and pipelines options. We looked at ALOps, we looked at ALGo for GitHub, and we looked at Alpaca based on our needs and our checklist of what we were looking for. Alpaca was an absolute no-brainer. The time savings that it has offered is incredible. And the hosted pipelines for €1 an hour, whatever the pricing model is, just absolute bargain, massive time savings. And we now, for every single one of our projects, in addition to our standard build pipelines, we have scheduled pipelines that run twice a month for next minor and next major. So all of our projects are automatically built against next minor and next major. We get the notifications. So super slick. Next step, as I mentioned, is to get all of our release artifacts pushed over to SharePoint so that we do not have to send artifacts to our consulting team. They will be in a SharePoint file storage location where they know they can find this customer's latest release. They'll see the full release history. We'll also have all of our requirements, statement of work, design docs, estimates, user guide, deployment guides, whatever we need in SharePoint, highly organized. So we are doing a proof of concept on the best way, kind of prototyping the best way to have an extra pipeline, push those artifacts to a file storage repository. And then we're going to do a second stage to get those over to the appropriate ultimate SharePoint destination. So we are jamming on that. It's great to see the kind of the fruits of that labor. We're very methodical, really invested a lot of time. So it sounds daunting, but at the end of 5 months, seeing all this come together is really amazing. And so if you are a partner, if you are an app source developer, I highly recommend getting organized. The payoff is monumental. So, okay. So that is my big accomplishment. Oh, I didn't have a final slide. So with that, let me just zip through all these slides, get back to my opening slide, and thank you for hanging out with me and from the Volcano Studio. And I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to get ready for my 10 o'clock class with Jocelyn. We're going to jump into Screen Recorder and figure out how to offer a service to customers based on Screen Recorder. So have a great weekend and go learn something. Sign up for Jeremy's class on BC warehousing, sparebrain.com, education workshops. I will see you there. Okay, let me figure out how to close out the scene. One moment, un momento, por favor. And let's kick on some music here. Oh, I think I need to stop it. There we go. So,